Bonafied just released a new kayak in light of ICAST this year. It's called the XTR 130, labeling it the greatest fishing kayak ever. It's a pretty bold statement. I'm going to show you guys a few clips from their YouTube channel about it. We're going to dive into the specs about the kayak, and then I'm going to talk about the things I really don't like about it immediately, and then we'll do a little sort of comparison to the OldTown AutoPilot 136, which in my opinion is the greatest fishing kayak platform ever created.
We have this one set up in a way that I would call our tournament angler version. This is a solo angler. This is how I would set up if I were going to a tournament. So let's check it out. I'm going to walk you through bow to stern exactly how we did it. It is mounted to a power link plate that is midship just beneath the seat of the boat, so you can control all of those things from your seat. So I want to talk about motorizing this boat. Motorizing from the bow gives you a lot of accuracy while fishing and holding position, and motorizing from the stern is preferred for just getting to where you're going to fish. We've taken a lot of inspiration from small bass boats, so whether it is this massive open deck for walkability, we have an upper deck where you can stand and sight fish, you can land fish up here or rig, you can add sonar. We have multiple locations for battery storage, motorization, bow and stern. All of those features come together.
So before we dive into the pros and cons of this kayak, I want to just go through the specs right here on their website. I got them pulled up on my phone. I haven't done any research other than this and watching their videos, but in their video they didn't really talk about the specs all that well. But in length, it's a 12-foot 7-inch kayak. The width at its widest point, which isn't midship, it's actually at the bow, is 40.5 inches. The depth of the kayak is 15 inches. Fitted whole weight is 155 pounds, and fully rigged weight is 170 pounds. Capacity of 730 pounds. Now you guys got to remember, capacity means, you know, the weight of the kayak, the angler, all your gear you bring on it. It's just not what you can load onto the kayak itself. You have to include the weight of the kayak. They claim it has superior big boat stability. It has a swivel seat, just like the Titan X. Elevated sliding junk drawer, just like the Titan X. Massive upper deck standing platform, which is pretty cool. Motorization, first deck design. Horizontal rod storage, versatile battery storage, spacious floor plan, adaptable tandem fishing options. So if you guys like to take a kid out, you know, that would be, you know, potentially an option for you. Enhanced rigging potential, forward-facing sonar and downscan capability or compatibility. Stern rudder compatibility. It doesn't even come with a rudder. Bonafied convertible foot braces, extensive gear track. So this kayak, before tax and anything like that, is coming in at $2,700. Call it $3,000 with your taxes. This is a bare bones kayak. It comes plug and play, but it's a bare bones kayak. It doesn't come with a rudder. It doesn't come with, it comes with, you know, adaptable foot control steering, but again, you don't have a rudder. Okay, it doesn't come with a motor. It doesn't come with any of that type of stuff. And for $3,000, basically, for a bare bones kayak, that's quite a bit to ask, in my opinion. Hey, and before we go any further, guys, let me sell myself out here real quick. If you guys like kayak fishing, anything outdoors, I'm always uploading new content. I'm located in the great state of Michigan. I have a lot of opportunities to do a lot of different things, and I enjoy making videos for you guys. So consider subscribing to my channel. It's free to subscribe, just helps me grow my channel, which is the ultimate goal in the long run. I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to watch the video, but let's get back to it. So there's no doubt this is going to be a popular kayak. They just released it, and I'm assuming it's going to be a lot like the Titan X last year. When they released it, it was available for pre-order, and then it was going to be sometime in fall from your local dealers for them to get them in and for you to get them. Actually, when I had ordered the Titan X, they said September. I don't think they got them until October, November, so I was kind of glad I backed out of that one and went with the OldTown AutoPilot 136. But undoubtedly going to be a very, very popular kayak. But let's get into some of the issues I have with it. So number one, flat out, and I've been saying this for 2 years, anybody that's been following me as long as I've been kayak fishing, I have an issue with one of the rules, and that is one of the 2 motor rules, or it is the 2 motor rule, right? It's been implemented. I've hounded Chad Hoover about it. You know, it's basically a dead-end road as far as that goes, as far as getting the rules changed. At the beginning, you seen Hans talking about how if he were to show up to a fishing tournament, a kayak fishing tournament, this is how he would have the kayak rigged out. And it was rigged out, like if you like people telling you just buy a boat, you're gonna wanna rig this boat out just like he has, because it's exactly what he's got into it. But there's probably about, with the kayak and everything he had into it, there's probably about 10 grand, guaranteed. But the issue I have is the 2-motor rule. They're advertising it with 2 motors. They're making statements that this is how I would show up to a tournament is with 2 motors, yet every kayak trail in the nation that I'm aware of, including KBS, the Michigan Kayak Trail, all that stuff, does not allow you to have 2 motors, which is why I bowed out, because my OldTown AutoPilot I have rigged with an NK300 on the stern. That's how I like to fish out of my kayak. And unfortunately, the tournament rules have not updated themselves with the new platforms that are coming out. Now I'm making an assumption here, but for the fact that Hoover is sponsored by Bonafied, the fact that they are advertising this kayak with 2 motors and fully rigged out like that, and basically stating that they would show up to a tournament like that and legally fish said tournament with it rigged like that, Hoover's gonna have to make a decision sooner or later about allowing 2 motors on kayaks. You know, I could go down that wormhole for days, but we're not going to. I've been talking about it for years and nothing's changed, but I have a really great feeling that the fact that the way this kayak is set up, designed, and advertised is really gonna push him to make the change. But another issue I have with the kayak, it's a 170-pound kayak, 150 with it unloaded, but they advertise it as being able to load it in a truck bed. You know, they got extra handles in the front to be able to load it in a truck bed or assist you load it in a truck bed, but there ain't no way anybody's gonna be loading it like that in a truck bed. Let me tell you, a 13-foot kayak like that, the AutoPilot 136 is 13.5 foot. Ain't no way I'm lugging this thing around in a truck bed. You're gonna have to look into getting yourself a trailer, which is what I did, and it makes life a lot easier, but just be realistic with yourself. I'm trying to be realistic with you guys that don't think you're gonna truck bed this thing, and if you do, I know a lot of us aren't bodybuilders, a lot of us aren't in the best shape that kayak fish, so let's be realistic with ourselves here, and we're not gonna be pickup loading this thing, and if you are, you're gonna have to have somebody with you to help load it, unload it, that type of thing, and it's gonna make your experience really just not enjoyable. So another issue I have with the kayak is it is a bare bones kayak for 3 grand. Yes, it has the 1-link system, fully integrated, this, that, plug and play, but you ain't got nothing to plug and play with. Like, it's just a bare bones kayak. Now, when you talk about adding, whether it's a bow mount or a stern mount motor to your kayak, you're already talking at a bare minimum without a battery, $1,000. So take that price up to 4 grand. Okay, and then if you want a bottom of the line lithium battery, 100 amp hour, a 12 volt, at a bare minimum you're looking at around 300 bucks for that. So that's 1,300, talk about 4,300 bucks. Now I'm gonna show you real quick how plug and play the OldTown AutoPilot is with the integrated motor that comes with it when you buy it. Literally just like that. There it is. You want to talk about integration and plug and play? I literally unplugged it, removed it from the kayak, and have it out for traveling down the road. And it's just as simple to put it back in. Now don't get it wrong, this isn't an advertisement for OldTown. I don't work for OldTown. I don't work for Bonafied. I don't work for anybody. But I'm just trying to show you guys that the simplicity of the AutoPilot is second to none, and which is why, in my opinion, makes it the best fishing kayak ever. Best fishing kayak platform ever designed. So with the XTR 130, the issue with that is you're gonna have to find yourself a motor. They rigged it out with the XI3 from Motor Guide, and then you know, again, if you're gonna wanna add a stern mount motor to it, you're talking about more cost. They advertise it as a width of 40.5 inches. Now that's at your bow. You can clearly see that looking at the overhead view of it, that it's wider at the bow than it is midship. So there may be some struggles there as far as paddling. It's not a boat you're gonna wanna paddle. You're gonna have to throw a motor on this thing because of how big and heavy it is. Sure, it may paddle halfway decent, but you ain't gonna wanna paddle that thing all day. The OldTown AutoPilot actually has a really nice hull design that makes it relatively easy to paddle, but it's still not something I'm going to paddle all day, which is why I bought it, because it comes integrated with a motor in it. So that's something to consider. If you guys are buying this kayak, you have to put a motor on it. You're not going to be paddling this thing around the rivers, creeks, lakes, ponds, wherever you're going, because you're going to absolutely hate it. The other con I have is that it doesn't even have a rudder. Okay, so it does not come fully equipped with a rudder. It's another add-on you have to do, which, it's just another cost. It really starts adding up. I haven't looked up to see what a Bonafied rudder cost, but it's got to be within that $100 to $300 range fully equipped. But again, the OldTown AutoPilot comes fully equipped with a rudder ready to go. So this isn't a bash video against Bonafied or nothing like that. The kayak actually looks like a really nice kayak. I just have issues with it, and I want to bring awareness to those things, because some of you guys may not consider these things before making a purchase, and next thing you know, you got to spend a couple more $1,000s just to get the boat out onto the water and enjoy a day of fishing. I can make a suggestion to you, and you guys can do what you want with that. I would suggest to you, if you were looking to buy a new kayak, a motorized kayak, I would suggest the OldTown AutoPilot, either in the 120 or the 136. I personally fish out of the 136, and in my opinion, this is the best fishing kayak platform available worldwide. There's nothing better than the OldTown AutoPilot. So anyways, I hope this helps you guys make a decision, making a purchase if you're considering purchasing this kayak. Hopefully my expertise and opinions will help you make that decision. But just remember, if you plan to rig this kayak out the way they advertise it, you're not going to be able to fish kayak bass fishing tournaments legally. You're not going to be able to fish almost any trail in the United States legally. So consider that before you make this purchase, because I've been shut down the last 2 years the way I have my AutoPilot rigged out. So if I get into a tournament, I can only run one motor or the other. So consider that, you guys, before you make this purchase. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.